Okay, since everybody's probably got a busy day, let's jump in. As we get started here, I'll just give you a quick introduction. My name is Anne-Marie Taylor, and I am the program manager for, um, for accounting here at the School of Continuing Studies. And we'll be covering off two accounting certificates today, our foundations and our advanced accounting certificate. So in terms of the agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about York University, the accounting certificates, what sort of the landscape looks like for accounting in Toronto, the format of our courses, the CPA designation, and then of course a bunch of questions. But thank you for taking the time to join me today. I know everybody's got a lot going on, and hopefully you find this information useful. Okay, so let's dig in. So a little bit about York and the School of Continuing Studies. We have students from over 70 countries. We have over 20 professional programs and constantly growing. Of those 20 professional programs, the 2 certificates or post-degree certificates in accounting are part of that family of courses. All the programs are co-designed and delivered by senior industry leaders. So in the accounting program, that means that you have working CPAs, CFAs, and really industry leaders that help bring that practical and actionable sort of experience and tips into the classroom. We also offer an accelerated delivery whereby, and we'll get into this a little bit later, in the full-time programs in accounting, the programs last 8 months as opposed to sort of a longer trajectory in perhaps other continuing ed programs or the more traditional higher ed model. And we also have 2 different types of delivery. We have full-time and part-time, and we'll dig into those a little bit more. So when we talk about our programs here at York, and I'm sure you're looking at a bunch of different things and trying to make your decision. So just thinking about the accounting programs, we offer, as I mentioned, multiple delivery formats, which allows you to make the choice that's right for you where you are personally, professionally, in 2 streams of programs. So we have full-time and part-time. Now the full-time program is that. It's courses that are in person, on campus, 4 days a week, taking 2 courses at a time. It's about 3 hours a day of in-person learning with no classes on Fridays. The classes usually run about 6.5 weeks, and then there's a week off, and then another set of classes start. So if you are able to do that, that program lasts about 8 months. And then we also have the part-time program, which is a little bit longer. You take 1 course at a time, and the courses last about 8 weeks. We offer, as I mentioned earlier, a condensed or an accelerated format in our full-time programs. These programs last 8 months. In the foundations program or the introductory accounting program, it's 8 courses, and the advanced accounting is 9 courses. And then, like I said, you take 2 courses at a time, and quite quickly to get you to where you need to be in a very short period of time. Our courses are CPA approved. Both of the certificates, they're both the foundation and the advanced accounting courses are CPA approved. And what this means is that we're reviewed every year, so you know and you can trust that the content you're receiving will be accepted by the CPA. So, and meeting your educational requirements if you choose to go down that path of becoming a chartered professional accountant or CPA here in Canada, specifically in Ontario. So we also offer, one of our hallmarks is a cohort model. And for those of you who don't know what a cohort model is, it means that when you're starting your program, everybody starts together. So if we were all starting this past September in our advanced accounting program, we would all be traveling together through our courses and then finishing together in 8 months. What this allows us to do is really to create community. If you're new to Toronto, you get to make sort of a fast set of network within your courses that you can use as a professional network and as a personal network, but also to help facilitate learning groups, being able to learn from each other, study together, and be able to have friends to do group work with. In our part-time program, we also have a cohort model. So the courses start, again, everybody starts together and works their way through the program as well. You just don't have that in-person contact unless you choose to reach out to each other. In addition to sort of how we develop our courses, there's a whole bunch of other things going on at York and at the School of Continuing Studies to help you be successful post-graduation. So within our programs and our certificates, we have webinars, panel discussions, guest speakers. We have a capstone project, which is taken from the real world that you get to do at the end of your course to give you that sort of real problem solving experience. We have workshops and professional development opportunities. You get free access to LinkedIn Learning, as well as Excel. There's opportunities for networking and mentoring through 10,000 copies. So this is a program where you can go and sign up and you'll be paired with somebody to have a quick coffee chat about a specific industry or job area that you might be curious about later on. There's also an entrepreneurship initiative through Innovation York, and there's lots of information that are in the links below. So our students are often very much like yourselves, are university or college graduates. For our foundation program, there could be a limited knowledge of accounting or finance. In our advanced, we do have prerequisites, which I'll cover in a couple of slides. Our students in the advanced program generally already have some exposure to rudimentary financial and managerial accounting, as well as some other business courses. They're also your cohort of students. They're also newcomers to the field of accounting, or maybe they're changing their careers where they've been exposed to somebody like myself who's been exposed to finance and financial reporting in one area of my job, but I want to learn more. So I would take the certificate to sort of deepen my understanding of what it means to be a business partner or a better business partner within the organization. And there's also most, and I think there was about 60% of the people on the call here were our international students who want to work and study in Canada, and York provides sort of an opportunity to do that. So some of you might be asking, if you're looking at your programs, why study accounting in Toronto? Toronto is the second largest financial city in North America. It's also one of the best cities for fintech in Canada. And then the number 2 and 3 are Montreal and Vancouver. But when we're thinking about Toronto, one of the things that I learned recently is that Toronto, not in addition to being the sort of fourth largest city in North America, is also represents about 20% of the Canadian economy. I knew it was large, but I didn't realize one city represented that much of the Canadian economy. So there's a lot going on here and a lot of opportunities for you. But when thinking about taking these types of programs and thinking about different career pathways, there's the generalist sort of practitioner within an organization. You can become a budget and performance expert, an external auditor, an internal auditor, a tax expert. Definitely CPA is on the path to those pieces. But the career in finance and accounting is really broad, and it gives you a set of transferable skills that can be applied to really any kind of business, regardless of the size. But when looking at the actual jobs in Toronto, so this is almost 2021, I pulled these numbers, it's the last 12 months, so November 2020 to October 2021, and you'll see that these are just the jobs for these specific titles that were posted in the last year. And like I mentioned, we work with industry leaders and people that are out there in the profession. So we're constantly getting feedback on sort of what are these jobs? What do they mean? How can we better align our programs to provide just those technical skills that you'll learn, absolutely, but what are the enabling skills that will allow you to be successful in your career? So I know from my work, one of the things that employers always ask for is, really good communication. Are you able to communicate financial information to somebody who doesn't have a background? which is one of those things with, especially with technical expertise, that they're really looking for, that you can sit on the other side of the table and explain sort of what the P&L means to the business, and perhaps suggest solutions. So a little bit about the program, which is, I know what you folks are here for. So the accounting certificate, which is sort of a foundational certificate, there are 8 courses. The first 4 are prerequisites for the advanced accounting certificate. And then the next 3 courses are individual courses that you would take that to help you be successful. But then the 8th course is what we call a capstone course. And for, if you're not familiar with that, the capstone course really takes all of the learning that you've done in the 7 previous courses and puts it all together in a case-based project that you'll work on, to be able to showcase the skills that you've learned. When we talk about the prerequisites for the advanced accounting certificate, they can be taken with us, or if you've already taken them as part of your undergraduate or graduate degree, you can then apply for, at another institution, you can then apply for our advanced accounting certificate, which is 9 courses, and again, a capstone course that really sets you up to be successful, especially if you're going to look at pursuing your CPA designation. It's very driven by case-based types of assessments and projects, and this will really help you practice those skills. So when thinking about your learning and thinking about sort of what the time commitments are looking like, this is a sample schedule for the foundation certificate. The foundation certificate is most often taught during the day. The first section of the cohort is 8:30 to 11:30, and then we typically have one from 12 till 3. And if we have 3 sections of the cohort, it would happen a little later on in the afternoon. The advanced accounting program takes place at night. It's 6:45 to 9:45, but it follows the Monday to Thursday schedule. And the flip-flopping of courses, that also happens in the foundations program. So for example, in the foundations program here that I've indicated, on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's introduction to financial accounting, and Tuesdays and Thursdays is economics, as an example. In the advanced accounting program, you might have, on Monday, you might have intermediate and advanced managerial accounting, and then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, you might have audit, as an example. But this is how it works. Our schedules are set. It allows you to be able to plan both your personal and professional and your learning lives around it. And they are run, the full-time programs are all run in person and on campus. In terms of the part-time certificates, they also work on a cohort-based model, but it's slightly different in that there aren't regular weekly lessons taught by the instructor. This is very much you're working on your own, but within groups of learners. So the learning is a little bit different. You kind of have to self-regulate your learning. It's everybody starts the course together and ends it together. And within the course, there's a lot of independent learning, but you'll also be paired up with or put into groups to do other types of projects, casework, and other types of group work. But if you're working full time, the part-time certificate option is it could be a really good option for you to be able to work that around a full-time work schedule and not have the need to come to campus. So as I mentioned, our programs are and courses are all CPA approved. And if you're considering pursuing your CPA designation, the CPA Ontario themselves provides a lot of really good information. So this is just an overview. And we do have somebody that partners with us to be able to explain all of this. But essentially, if you're beginning at the beginning, the postgraduate certificate in accounting is your start place. And then you'd sort of work through these sectors to be able to take the PEP modules offered by the CPA, and then the final exam, and then it's your membership. So it is a process. This is the same. The PEP programs and the Common Exam are the same for everybody. They have educational requirements in order to take the PEP modules. as well as documenting your work experience as well. But if you complete the certificate in accounting or have the prerequisites to get into the advanced professional accounting, you complete that, and then you're popped into the PEP modules, which sets you up to be able to take your final exam. But again, the CPA is the best one to answer your questions about all of this, but know that you can trust that your learning that takes place with us will qualify you to get to that point in your learning. So I originally asked the question about when you'd like to take your courses. So right now, our winter full-time programs for advanced professional accounting and the foundation accounting are full. We're accepting registration for spring, fall at the moment, particularly in spring. We do not offer a part-time version of the advanced professional accounting in the spring. We only offer that twice a year, and that's based on demand. That may change, but for right now, that's how it's looking. But you can apply for domestic students. You can apply for the winter part-time program at the moment. The application process is actually quite simple. You need a university degree. For our international student friends on the line, you need an IELTS score of 6 or above, or Duolingo of 105. A video statement of interest, that's for everybody, as well as a resume. And for the advanced accounting certificate, you need the 4 prerequisites. So this is where your transcripts will also come in handy, is the fundamentals of financial accounting, introduction to managerial accounting, economics, which is both, you'd have to cover both micro and macroeconomics, as well as statistics, business statistics or business math. I will say that this year, the application process we've been overwhelmed, delightfully so, with applications. And it is fairly competitive. So just because you meet the minimum requirements doesn't necessarily mean that you will be admitted. I will say that just given what I'm seeing right now, if you're considering the spring cohort, I would apply soon. Space, and particularly advanced program, is filling up, and I strongly suspect the foundations one will be soon thereafter, but I don't suspect for a couple of months yet. But the advanced accounting, I would strongly suggest that you apply sooner rather than later, so that we can make sure to evaluate your admission and make a decision from there. And in terms of questions, you can, the website continuing@york.ca will offer you a lot of information, but your continuing students advisor, David, is a great resource. We work very closely together, and there's the email there. Maybe if you have your phones handy, you can take a picture of this or take a screen grab. It will be sent out in a follow-up email, but these are really great resources for you to have. And then also the registration coordinator and are part of our registration team. If you have any questions, about the process or following up on any of your applications, it's regscs@yorku.ca. But we all work very closely together. So if you contact the wrong person, we will obviously put you in touch with the right one, but it's much easier to go to the right person first. So that's really it for me. So I'm going to open up the questions, see if we have any. So if you'd like to enroll as in May as an international student, I strongly recommend that you get your application in as soon as possible if you're looking for the advanced program. Every application is evaluated distinctly. So I would look at yours and I would look at the next person. So I would check if you're looking at eligibility to enroll, given the criteria that I've listed there. If you have, over a certain percentage as a graduate, if you have an IELTS score above a certain amount, you may be eligible to join. But David, who is the continuing studies advisor, can best help you. But from the looks of things, you probably are eligible to apply. So are there extra learning opportunities available to part-time students? Yes, they are. We offer a lot of similar opportunities for our part-time students. Oftentimes, though, we find that just given that they are most likely working full-time. We don't often see the uptick as we do with our full-time students, but yes, any of the additional learning opportunities make it available to all of our students. So if we're running a workshop on Power BI or Excel, we let everybody know, and if you can attend, that's great. If you can't, we'll try to organize something that works better for everybody's schedule. The full cost of the certificate programs is on our website, so it depends whether or not you're an international or a domestic student. And if you have any questions about payment, the registration team is on that email is the one for you. So there's a lot of really great information on the website, but if you have any questions about payments or tuition, outside of the cost, of course, the registration team at regscs.yorku.ca is the one for you. The estimated deadline for assessing May intake applications, so I'm reviewing every week. So if you're thinking about applying, and I will say this one more time, if you're thinking about applying for the advanced program, I would get your applications in soon, definitely before the winter break. But we are assessing up and until the day, but it can, if you are an international student, you might need to apply and get your application approved in order to be able to apply for a visa. Yes, there are authorized agents in India for the York School of Continuing Studies. I do suggest that you reach out to David at continue@york.ca, and they'll be able to put you in touch with somebody. So we don't offer co-op for full-time students. We do offer, because it is so quick, it's 8 months, 2 courses at a time, 12 hours of learning a week. We do not offer co-op, but what we do offer is working in sort of case-based and with that capstone piece. So it doesn't give you that direct, necessarily direct work experience, but it does set you up for those problem-solving skills and similar questions to the exam format for the CPA designation. So the advanced program is also full-time, is 8 months. The part-time programs are 16 months long, so about a year and a half. Or sorry, 18 months, about a year and a half. So there are no, yes, okay. So is there costs in addition to tuition fees? Yes, every course has a textbook. We try to limit the extra cost for learning materials to just the textbook. So we're looking at evaluating any additional publisher resources. Some courses have them as additional sort of homework, but it should just be the cost of your textbook. And because we offer access to Excel, you shouldn't have to purchase access to Excel, which you will need for your course. So you need a university or college degree in advanced for either one of those courses or certificates. So we do require a university degree for most of our certificate programs here at York, if not all of them. But for ours, we definitely do need at least a university or college application. You also need, for the advanced certificate, you need those 4 prerequisites. So economics, both micro and macro, business statistics, introductory financial accounting, and introductory managerial accounting. Now, those 2 accounting courses, depending on where you've taken your learning, could be called something else. We know that. So we take that into account as well. So sometimes there might be an institution that doesn't have an exact course called introductory managerial accounting, but there's cost accounting, business accounting, and so we know that those in combination are equivalents. Can we complete both programs, so both full-time programs in 16 months without a break? No. So because the programs work in a cohort model, it's actually, they overlap with each other. So you would be starting, let's say you were starting the foundation program in September. So it'd be September, October, November, December, January. You'd be finishing in April, and then the next cohort would be starting again. Oh, you could start the May one, but there might be some overlap in terms of when the courses end and when they begin. So I believe the students who start in September will be finishing up mid-May, but that advanced program has already started at the beginning of May. So there's very, very little wiggle room there, and it would be quite aggressive to get that done in that period of time without a break. So the question I have is, if we apply just after completion of the first and admitted to another program and get one done within 16 months, I think I need to work out when you're starting and when you're finishing that program. I don't want to say for sure now. It all depends on when you start and what programs they are. If they're the 2 accounting programs, or if you wanted to take an HR or business admin program, they all start around the same time. So I think it would be tricky to do them concurrently, although I do know that there are students who do that. Is the full-time program online or in class? Great question. Okay, so starting in January, we are back in person and on campus for their full-time programs, which is really exciting. We will be moving into a new building later on in the summertime, which is doubly exciting. For the part-time program, it is completely online and relatively on demand. So if you recall, the part-time program it's really independent learning, although you begin a course with your cohort of students and end it with a cohort of students. Within that program, you're organizing your time and you're learning by yourself. There are no scheduled lectures. It's all independent learning with group work and projects. Full-time is in class 4 days a week for 3 hours each day. And again, with live instruction and group work and casework and all that great stuff that happens in campus. So the IELTS test is for all international students, regardless of your first language, and that's for to make sure that we're treating everybody equitably. Is it mandatory to complete both certificates in accounting as well as a certificate advanced accounting in order to find a job? No, it is not. You can find a job sort of with your qualifications as they are now. If you're wondering about sort of the pathway, if it's mandatory to take both, it isn't. If you've already taken those 4 prerequisites and you have experience in accounting or business already, we strongly recommend that you look at the advanced professional accounting program. It is rigorous, so please think carefully about that. But what these programs will do, although it's not mandatory, it will set you up to be able to be in a better position to find a job or pursue your CPA designation or another designation. The advanced professional accounting leads straight away into the PEP modules. Yes, it does. So yes, this is how the pathway to CPA designation works. It works the same way for everybody who's going to take courses. So if I was on my CPA journey, I would have to make sure that I qualify first in the Canadian education requirements, and then I would have to take the PEP modules, and then I would have to sit and write the final exam, in addition to tracking my work experience. These are all really great questions. Thanks, everybody. So the advanced professional accounting program at our institution versus Schulich is that it happens a lot quicker. I would also argue that our application process is probably a little bit simpler, so we're done in 8 months. I believe it's a little bit longer at Schulich. There might be a difference in sort of where some of the PEP modules, but it's best, I think, if you look at your master's program there and compare the course curriculum, a lot of the program is relatively the same. What we have on the offer is really that you're working with industry professionals, and really it has that really nice balance of university level education taught by industry leaders and practitioners. So you get a lot of inside scoop to help you out later on in your career or as you prepare for the CPA exam. So can you take the PEP modules after taking the foundation accounting certificate? No. No, with an asterisk. So it's best with those questions to also, you need to take, if you've already taken the other courses that are required for the educational requirements. I'm going to back up. These courses here that are a part of the Advanced Accounting Certificate, these are all part of the educational prerequisites that get you into the PEP program. So you also would have had to take in at another institution, audit, tax, strategy and governance, and accounting information systems. So you have to take these courses, and the foundation program, although it gets you these four, it doesn't get you the other ones. So if you complete both of these certificate programs, are you eligible to work in the Canadian market? So regardless of the certificates, you're eligible to work in the Canadian market. But these certificates will help. So it all depends on your visa. So if you have a visa that permits you to work, you're eligible to work in the in Canada. If you do not have a visa that allows you to work, you are not eligible to work in Canada. So it's best to check the type of visa that you have, speak with an authorized official immigration person about what that looks like. But this sort of path to different types of visas is all laid out when you go to talk to somebody, but please speak to somebody so that you're getting the right advice and you know what kind of visa that you have. The transfer credit request form is, if you go to our website under the accounting programs, you'll see a school policies and it's there. Accommodation facilities available for post. So we do not have accommodation for postgraduate certificate students. You can ask David to see if they can refer you somewhere for that, but no, we don't have accommodation. How much total work experience is required? I believe this is probably a question about the resume. None. We're not, if you have more work experience, that's great. I see a lot of different types of applications. But if you're worried that your resume, if you only have work experience, or perhaps you've only done a certain amount of things, don't worry. It's not everything that the application hangs on. We just look for what you're like as a whole person. Work is part of your professional and learning experience as well. Is the CPA membership that we receive only limited to Ontario? This is a question for CPA. So your designation is with Ontario, and depending on where you live, you might have to get membership in another province. So for example, if you are working in a particular function in Quebec, you might have to become a CPA in Quebec. Not to worry, they have the ability to move across provinces. You don't have to start from scratch, but that's really a question for the CPA team, and they're very responsive. Is there a final exam at the end of each course for the part-time program? So most of our courses have final exams. It's not, but your grades sort of lead up to that. So most of the final exams are worth 20 to maybe 25% of each of your courses. We do have, like I mentioned, casework and projects and group work that also makes in participation that makes up the rest of your grade. They are generally multiple choice format and case-based. And that's true for the full-time program as well. Yes, we offer September intakes. I don't believe it's on our website just yet, but yeah, all of our programs have September intake. Can you apply for the program if you have a work visa? That is best to check with your with an official immigration consultant. So I know CP. So are these courses recognized by the US CPA designation? That is a question for the AICPA. I know that there are agreements between different national CPA bodies. So CPA Canada would have may have a mutual recognition agreement with the AICPA. But it's best for anything that is with that, it's best to check with the AICPA and CPA Ontario / Canada. What is the deadline to submit your visa? That is a question for the registration team and your immigration official. It varies from country to country. So the CFA membership, that one is different than the CPA membership. Again, I believe they have work experience as well. They have a whole other set of exams in learning. Best to reach out to them. Again, they're very, very responsive as well, but they'll provide you with the right information. So if your visa allows you to work, do we assist in placement? To look, no, you have to look for work on your own. But that's sort of the benefit of the cohort model is that you can create a network. You begin building that network here in Canada. We do offer different types of things throughout the semester in terms of employer roundtables and things like that. But this is really an opportunity for you to begin your network here. Okay, everybody, that was really great questions. I think we covered a lot of ground. If there's anything else, I've left the addresses of the people to reach out to. Please ask your questions. We know that this is a big decision. So if there's anything about the course, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. But best of luck with the application process. And if you know anybody else who's interested, please feel free to share the video when it arrives in your inbox. Thanks, everybody.